Hello guys, this is Saruto Uchiha Storm here and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing What If Naruto Was the 10 Tails Fox. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Chapter 1 Naruto vs Kagaya 4th Great Shinobi War, Desert. There were three silhouettes, one with rebellious blonde hair, dressed in clothes that had seen better days, an orange and black jacket, with orange pants, and black sandals. This boy is Uzumaki Naruto, a shinobi from Konohagakure no Sato of Genin rank, currently Jinchuriki, the young parts, of 9 bijus, Shukaku, Matabi, Isobu, Son Goku, Kakuo, Seiken, Chome, Gyuki, and Kurama. At his side was a dark-haired man dressed in a white and gray shirt with black pants. This is Uchiha Sasuke, possessor of the dojutsu known as the Sharingan, the rotating copying eye. We're currently fighting against a woman with white platinum hair who was wearing a white kimono adorned with Magatama designs. This was Kagaya Otsutsuki, better known as the Rabbit Goddess. They wondered where the rest of Team 7, Haruno Sakura, was treating an injured Hatake Kakashi along with Uchiha Opshio, who recently finished their fight for their ideals. Kakashi reconsidering his deceased best friend, who had fallen under the Sharingan curse due to the death of a loved one who was Nohara Rin, but returning with our blonde and jet black. Naruto, fear, don't you think it's getting stronger with each passing second? Sasuke, I know Dobi. Naruto, so what are we going to do? Sasuke, Naruto, Teme, I heard Teme, what will we do? Sasuke, Dobi. Naruto, what? Sasuke, I don't know. But without Naruto noticing, Kagaya opened a portal behind him and launched her attack hoping to end his life, but Sasuke noticed. Flash back home. Naruto, why do I have to team up with him? SSSAAASSSSSUUUUUKKKKKEE, I'll take you back, even if I have to break your legs to do it. Because you are my friend, you are like a brother to me, that's why I will take you out of that darkness. Flashback, end. And unconsciously he moved at a speed that not even he could believe, managing to place himself behind Naruto in time and receiving the attack for him. Naruto only had time to turn and see how Kaguya's hair pierced Sasuke. He counterattacked, managing to cut the hair, and he took his partner in his arms, and at that very moment he cursed himself for not having learned healing jutsu, or, even if Sakura was there to help his brother, rival who lies in his arms. He came out of his trance by a small blow to his forehead, realizing that his brother, rival wanted to tell him something. Sasuke, hey, you're not hurt, are you? Scary, Naruto, Sasuke. But what the hell did you think? Sasuke, I didn't want to lose another brother. Naruto, you're an idiot, I'm supposed to save you, that we'd go back together, that we'd fight shoulder to shoulder like brothers. Crying. Sasuke, and so we will do it. Naruto. Naruto, as if you're dying. Sasuke, it's not true, I'm just a little tired, that's all, I just want to rest a bit. Naruto, no matter what happens once this is over you'll be fine, we'll get back together, I promise. Sasuke, if I know very well. When you promise something you always keep it. Naruto, yes I know, even if it's difficult or impossible, even so, I'll win no matter the price. Sasuke, and I hope you do. You carry the pride of an elite Uchiha like me. Smiling, Naruto, of course, because of the pride of an elite Uchiha. Sasuke, so, you'll need all the help you can get, so. I want you to take my eyes. So you can keep up with him, even if just a little bit. At that moment Sasuke took out both eyes, and he gave them to Naruto while he looked at him with such sadness. He felt that he should not accept. The Sharingan was the pride of the Uchiha clan, and his brother swallowed his pride just to help him. In the end, I accept. Naruto, Kurama, how much time do you think I need to use my new eyes? Kurama, not long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, possibly less. Naruto, how many of my clones are left with Kagaya? Kurama, 3, not 2, just deleted 1. Kagaya was fighting with clones of the blonde boy. She only saw this as boring. The clones did not present a challenge for her. A single blow and they disappeared. She knew that the dark-haired boy would be out of action since he was almost completely drained his chakra, but the blonde was the opposite. He cut his hair, thus avoiding killing the other boy. Not only that, but it also made him safe from her by taking him to another location. Naruto Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, creating 2 clones of himself. You stay with Sasuke, and you go get Sakura to heal him. Clones. Hi. Kurama, I've already destroyed the last clones, it's on its way. Naruto, okay, let's buy some time. Opening his eyes. Without realizing it, the Uchiha's eyes changed and adapted to their new bearer, thanks to the fact that the eyes had the property of evolving, without knowing that in sets of the Uzumaki genes, which descend from the Otsutsuki Asura, they allowed him to accept the transplant. And healing at an accelerated rate. Kurama, Naruto, are you alright? Bijus, Naruto. Naruto, I'm fine. My eyes just burn a little. Serious, it's time to take this fight seriously. Not knowing that the boy now had a fragment of the Otsutsuki Indra soul from both Otsutsuki Asura, they found a balance in the new bearer of him, and in his left hand, a gray moon appeared. Bijus, of course, we will finish this fight no matter if we give it our all. The Ying parts of all the Bijus spoke, thus unleashing what could be said to be a battle described by many as two gods fighting. It was all destruction. The shockwaves of the attacks made the very earth tremble. Biju's sad face, we're running out of chakra, soon each one of us will fall, there's only one thing left for us to do. In the fight Naruto struggled while adapting to his new eyes, it was as if his body remembered every battle he's had and moved automatically as if Sasuke was guiding him. His body was going through a transformation that he had noticed. Naruto vs Kagaya. Naruto watched as a fissure appeared in the sky and launched at full speed without wasting time. He formed a Rasengan in his right hand without realizing that he did it without the help of Kurama, hitting him with the arm of a newly arrived Kagaya who did not. He noticed nothing. Naruto, Rasengan. Naruto's mind spaced, the Bijus talking to each other. Kurama, they are sure of this. Shukaku, of course, because we wouldn't be sure, we have to do it. Matabi, also with the little we know, we can say that Naruto-kun didn't care what happens. Kurama, I could if he cares or maybe not, knowing the Gaki he may not notice it now but when he does it will affect him a lot. Isobu, we know that boy is a fool, he doesn't care what happens to him as long as the others are safe. Son Goku. The boy is like a father, he sees us as friends not as weapons. Smiling. Kakuo. Right, his heart is pure. Smiling. Seiken, it's true, he doesn't harbor negative emotions. Calm down. Shomei, let's do it, the boy has the luck of the devil, he will be able to resist it. The change cheerful. Gyuki, I hope it works or we'll be lost. Seriously. Kurama, it will also work, he promised it, and seriously. Bijus, and Uzumaki Naruto, always keeps his promises, we know. Smiling. Kurama, once the process starts we'll fall asleep one by one. Ready? Bijus, more than ready, let's start. At that moment within Naruto, the Bijus began to merge their chakra with Naruto, giving birth to the new one, Naruto Uzumaki, the Jubi no Kitsune. Coming back with the fight. Kagaya was shot towards the earth. The impact caused a small tremor. Scale 5. Kagaya was getting up when next to her a golden flash. The next thing she knew was that she was flying again. The only thing that was in front of her was the vast sky starry. Kagaya reacted and prepared a stake, waiting for Naruto's next attack to hit her, but before she could even make a move again she received a kick. Seeing where she was going to fall, she saw Naruto preparing to hit her again, so she threw the stake which flew at full speed. Before it was close enough the sand came to life and moved unconsciously, getting up and deflecting the stake. This impressed our blonde, unpredictable ninja number 1. I attribute it to Shukaku protecting him. Without losing control time he made a series of seals that came to his mind and launched his jutsu. Naruto, Kaden Kyoka Mekyaku. A blue-black flame came out of his mouth. It was a tsunami of scorching fire which consumed everything it touched, leaving nothingness in its wake. Kagaya flew directly into the sea of flames. She tried to escape the attack only to be paralyzed by the sudden loss of chakra. It was as if something obstructed it without knowing that within her consciousness the 9 Bijus, the yang parts, were fighting against it. Jubi, with every willpower to give Naruto a chance to win, the sudden change in temperature caused the sky to cloud over and start to rain. Naruto noticed Kaguya's sudden paralysis and did not miss the opportunity. He knew how to attack, so he returned to perform a sequence of seals with fluidity as if he had trained the technique for years. Kagaya looked at Naruto and at his side I appreciate the silhouette of Sasuke smiling. Naruto could feel it, even though Sasuke was not on the battlefield. Even so, he felt how it helped him. Both the form of Naruto and Sasuke smiled while performing the jutsu. Naruto, disappear with the roar of thunder. Kirin. A powerful eastern dragon made of lightning flew directly towards Kagaya, but unlike Sasuke's dragon it was not blue, it was black-reddish. Zetsu tried to protect his mother, but unfortunately, he couldn't and was seriously injured. Naruto, I'm not done yet. Futon, Rasen Shuriken. Kagaya received the blow for the second time, and Zetsu returned to try to protect his mother after receiving all the damage. Unfortunately, he died. The powerful black-reddish lightning dragon was too strong the moment he touched it, and he burned it. But Kagaya did not notice this, as he focused on the change our blonde protagonist was undergoing. His teeth grew, they seemed sharper. His strange whisker marks faded. His eyes took on the shape of the Rin Sharingan, only this one was different. Instead of being purple was blood red. On his head appeared 2 blonde fox ears with red reddish tips, his hair grew blonde with red tips it soared to his lower back, in which to his surprise 10 beautiful blonde tails with red tips appeared. Another of his most notable changes was that he had grown from 1.68 centimeters to 1.77 centimeters, but what stood out the most was his chakra reserves kept growing. He did not know why this was happening. Naruto, I'm not going to lose, unless against someone like you. Humans are not fertilizer for a stupid tree. Everyone deserves a second chance, and I will give them the opportunity to see the morning. The blonde with annoyed with seriously, in that the knees gave way, due to the recent change. The incredible thing was that Naruto was still conscious. Kagaya took this opportunity and threw a stake, and the sand came to life and protected Naruto, while he regained a little control over himself, becoming to get up, and returning to resume their fight. While the fight between Naruto and the goddess Kagaya continued in the distance, Kakashi, Obito, and Sakura were found, who had been intercepted by the clone of our blonde protagonist. Of course he had the previous appearance. The only thing they felt was the powerful blasts of wind, then the scorching heat, and then it was the refreshing rain. But from one moment to another everything turned dark, which were caused by Naruto's attacks. They rushed to help Sasuke, who worried about his state current. Location unknown. Everyone had fallen into the Mugen Tsukuyomi. The only ones who were safe were Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, and Obito. These 5 people were the only ones still conscious, or so it was believed. There was still someone, a 6th person conscious, who was neither more nor less than Orochimaru the Sennin, who was saved by making an inverted invocation when feeling the danger. Orochimaru, what's happening? I feel like Naruto's chakra continues to grow, but Sasuke's feels very small. I don't know what happened. I still feel Haruno and Hatake, but there is someone else. If things continue like this, it is possible that humanity loses. Orochimaru, Kuchios no Jutsu. Wasting no time, Orochimaru made an invocation, from which a snake appeared which seemed surprised to see him. Snake, Orochimaru-sama, I thought you were dead. Orochimaru, Kukuku, the news of my death is overrated, but forget about it, you have everything I entrust you with. Snake, yes, it was a bit difficult, but I got everything I asked for. Deproton opened his mouth and a briefcase came out which was handed to Orochimaru. Serpent, here is Orochimaru, the DNA samples of the people I requested. I must say that some of them were difficult and even almost impossible to get, but in the end, I managed to get them all. Orochimaru, perfect, with the help of this we will turn the board around. Let's start, we don't have much time. Serpent, hi. Orochimaru once again performed the summoning jutsu and 20 snakes appeared in a puff of smoke. Orochimaru, I need 20 white zetsus to capture me, as quickly as possible. Once you have them all, make an invasion near my position, now go. Snakes, hi, Orochimaru-sama. In that Orochimaru ran to the closest ones, which were the group of 3 people. They ran with everything they could because he had a bad feeling, but he didn't know what it was, the low chakra reserves of Sasuke, the increase in those of Naruto. But his chakra felt more and more different. At first it felt like the sun, a feeling of comfort and quality in all directions. Now it felt as if a giant magnifying glass had been placed between the sun and the earth. The sunlight was focused on a solar ray which was getting hotter, was still warm, but every second that passed its power grew. Just thinking what was the cause of such a change, caused him a chill. End chapter. Chapter 2, Help is on the way. Orochimaru was running towards the location of the last Uchiha direction, and once close he managed to see Team 7 with a stranger whom he recognized as Uchiha Obito. Kakashi, Orochimaru. I'd say it's nice to see you awake, but tell me how you saved yourself. Orochimaru, Hatake-san, Kukuku. One has the secret of him, but tell me what happened. Kakashi. The fight was going well until Wood was betrayed by this black Zetsu, who stabbed him in the heart, consuming him, causing the resurrection of a certain Kagaya Otsutsuki, who apparently is the rabbit goddess. Orochimaru, I see, so that's what Naruto-kun Kukuku is fighting against. Haruno, yes, Naruto and Sasuke-kun were fighting her, but apparently from what the Naruto clone told us, she made a sneak attack on the idiot Naruto and Sasuke-kun saved him. Kakashi, Sakura, that's not entirely true and you know it, but anyway we're going to support Naruto, I guess you'll help, right? Orochimaru, that's right, but I'll also call in some reinforcements. Showed his briefcase, but before continuing they managed to see a clone of Naruto waving his hands in signs for them to see him, which worked, and they approached him, observing a Sasuke leaning on a rock, resting with his eyes closed. Sakura, Sasuke-kun, are you okay? Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Orochimaru. And Obito, it's a surprise. Sakura, Sasuke-kun, why don't you open your eyes? Sasuke, what would be the case? Kakashi, Naruto, what's going on? Because Sasuke doesn't open his eyes. Clone. Vera Kakashi-sensei. What happens is that, the, Sasuke, I gave my eyes to Naruto. Sakura, what, but why did you do that? Orochimaru. I see, very clever of you Sasuke-kun kukuku. Everyone, excepts Orochimaru. Sasuke, what do you mean by that? Orochimaru, being weak and unable to fight, winged Naruto-kun. Sasuke-kun chose to help him in another way. I give him his Sharingan. It may be a crazy idea, but being an Uzumaki and Jinchuriki can withstand the transplant of your eyes better than anyone, not to mention that the Uzumaki clan is a brother clan of the Senju who descend from the same clan as the Uchiha. Sasuke, that's right, but before I continue I need other eyes. Sasuke proceeded to perform an invocation in which a snake appeared with a jar that had Uchiha eyes with a label with the name, Uchiha Fugaku, on it. Sasuke, Sakura give me these eyes. Sakura, Sasuke-kun whose eyes are those? Sasuke, they are from, my father, my own eyes were blinded by the excessive use of Mangekyo, so I chose to use Itachi's eyes, those are the eyes that Naruto has now, so I need new ones and they are these. As Sakura proceeded to perform the eye transplant operation, Kakashi and Obito decided to ask Orochimaru what the plan of attack would be. Kakashi, then Orochimaru-san what are we going to do? Orochimaru, the first thing will be to call some reinforcements. Obito, but how are we going to do that if? Obito did not manage to finish since in a great puff of smoke they seemed like 20 snakes accompanied by 20 coffins. Everything is ready Orochimaru-sama the 20 snakes said. Orochimaru, perfect, the reinforcements are ready with a serious tone. Hiruzen, Orochimaru summoning us again with this horrible technique with anger in his tone. Orochimaru, it's nice to see you again sensei, only this time I called you for another reason. Well I called all of you to help in the Naruto-kun Kukuku fight. Kakashi, Obito, Minato-sensei, Kushina-sama, and Rin. Obito threw himself to hug Rin, who hugged him in the same way. Rin, it's a pleasure to see you again, and more to you Obito smiling. Obito, Rin. I'm sorry, crying. Rin, it's fine, everything's fine. You just wanted to see me again, calm down, everything's fine yes smiling. Obito, yup smiling imagine him crying and with a runny nose. Makoto, Itachi, Shisui, Sasu-chan, Sasuke-san. Sasuke, mother, Itachi. And Shisui-san are you, Makoto, of course my boy, but what happened to you? And who is that beautiful girl? It can't be. She's your girlfriend. Tomato Red Sakura, it's a pap pleasure, me meeting them my n name T is Haruno Sakura. Sasuke, Itachi, Shisui, great another crazy screamer asterisk, Makoto, Izumi, but how cute, she blushed, Kushina, Kakashi, Obito, where is Naru-chan? I don't see him searching with his eyes. Todo, Kakashi, Obito, Sakura, Sasuke, Orochimaru, it's true we don't see Naruto-kun, San-chan. Kakashi, well, he is. But before he could finish, Sasuke spoke. Sasuke, he's fighting Kagaya. Just, Kakashi, Obito, Orochimaru, Sakura, is this idiot or what Sasuke-kun so cool? Todo, Kakashi, Obito, Sakura, Sasuke, Orochimaru. What but why is he fighting alone? Kushina, Minato, with an angry face. Kakashi explain yourself right now. Kakashi, well you'll see the thing is. Obito, and Orochimaru, what happens is that they were fighting against another person. Jinchurikis 1-7, lies, looking at Obito. Orochimaru, I called them to help him in his fight look at the Jinchurikis and more to you being the previous Jinchurikis they can help you, look at Sasuke how do you feel Sasuke-kun kukuku. Uchihas, looking at Orochimaru. Sasuke, quiet a little better now, although I still can't see. In that he feels like the earth trembles, everyone turns to see the clone of Naruto. But when they were going to ask him about what is happening, they realized that he was no longer there, apparently he dissipated. All, Sasuke, Sakura, Orochimaru, we have to go help Naruto, San-kun-chan. And so the majority left to help Naruto, and the people who stayed behind were, Sasuke, Sakura, Orochimaru, Bawako, Hiruzen, Rin, Obito, and Izumi. Naruto vs. Kagaya. Naruto and Kagaya were once again on dry land in hand-to-hand combat. She tried to stab Naruto with a bone he dodged and landed a hook aimed at his liver, and once again Kagaya went flying, and Naruto didn't he wasted time and once again approached and took her by the horns, kneeing her in the face, which caused a brief stun in her, using her as a fulcrum to deliver the next kick in a downward manner which connected directly to her head. Once again sending her down. Naruto, Suiruden no Jutsu, Three gigantic water dragons came out behind Naruto and flew directly towards her. Two of the dragons took the lead. The first came from in front. The second dragon took a curve, proceeded to dodge the first dragon by jumping to the right, but immediately seemed the second dragon, which is close to impact, but raised his hand and opened a dimensional rift which swallowed the second dragon. But and the third water dragon realized that the third dragon was not there until he hit it from above, which caused him to bury her in the wet sand. It was then he heard Naruto's voice launching the next attack. Raiden Kuro no Ryu, the blonde yell. And a large black-reddish dragon flew towards her and hit her, causing an explosion, and the shockwave it generated was felt miles away. Several kilometers away, there was a group of people running. In the lead was Fu x 7 Tails Jinchuriki, and Yugito x 2 Tails Jinchuriki. Following closely was Utakata x 6 Tails Jinchuriki, and Shisui. On his left side was Han X Jinchuriki of the 5 tails, and to his right Roshi X Jinchuriki of the 4 tails, behind them Yugura X Jinchuriki of the 3 tails, and Itachi, and behind came Kakashi, Minato, Kushina, Makoto, and in the back came Jiraiya, Tayuya, Nagato, Konan, Yahiko. But suddenly they all saw 3 giant water dragons flying through the sky. They were all impressed, but they did not slow down. On the contrary, they increased it. Moments after seeing the 3 imposing water dragons, they saw what that many believed was impossible. A dragon that was 3 times larger than the previous ones, only this one was formed by what everyone believed was black and red lightning. Its appearance made it look imposing and terrifying. Even the ex-Jinchurikas were shocked, realizing that it was even almost as big as a Biju. If its size was monsters, they didn't want to think how much damage it would cause. All surprised. What kind of fight are you having? Yugito and Fu, we have to hurry. Naruto-kun needs us even if we don't know him in person. Asterisk. And so everyone started running again. Naruto vs. Kagaya. Kagaya couldn't believe it. She was a goddess, the great and powerful rabbit goddess, a being that can't be defeated, much less killed. She was being dominated by a brat. She couldn't believe it until she realized, this boy was not this man. He was no longer human. Now they were on the same level. They were both gods on earth, and only a god can kill another god. But the question was, how did this insect become a god? What's going on? The great and powerful rabbit goddess is being beaten. Hey grandmother. The blonde yelled. Kagaya turned to see Naruto with a face of anger. Apparently, since Black Zetsu died, she has been showing more emotions. Before she seemed like a puppet, but now she is more human, in terms of showing her emotions. Kagaya, who are you calling granny, you fucking brat? With anger in her tone, Naruto, if there is any other grandmother apart from you, that white hair, classifies you as a grandmother, laughing, or am I wrong? Mocking her. Kagaya, I'll show you what this grandma can do. You damn brat. With anger in her tone. Naruto, mocking her again. I want to see that. Buela, calm down. So I hope you survive this. Yoden Kuro no Ryuden. A powerful dragon made of magma flew directly towards Kagaya, who was impressed by its size and speed. It seemed as if it were alive. After that, all she saw was light. Naruto did not know from what moment this fight stopped taking it as such, and began to act as usual. Only now, his mind was clearer than before. You could say that he felt clearer. It was as if in the middle of the fight, he stopped being an airheaded idiot, and that he felt stronger and faster. He had adapted to his new eyes. He saw everything more clearly. The Bijus was very quiet, which I attribute to the fact that they were just as focused on the fight as the close to Naruto and Kaguya. On the outskirts of the forest near the battlefield, 2 figures were the first to arrive, which turned out to be Fu x 7 Tails Jinchuriki, and Yugito x 2 Tails Jinchuriki. Moments after being blinded by a dome of light and feeling the immense heat that it gave off, the rest of the reinforcement team arrived. Fu, we're close. Smiling, we have to hurry. With a happy tone. Yugito, we have to hurry, although it's strange serious not to feel tired. The rest of the team arrived. Itachi, the Edo Tensei, gives us unlimited chakra and resistance, but now the important thing is to look for Naruto-san to help him. With a calm tone. Jiraiya, the Uchiha brat is right, we have to start looking for him, before it's too late. With a serious yet worried tone. The team began to enter the battlefield, with their guards up, to avoid any surprise attack, in search of Naruto until they heard a slightly different but still familiar voice. Naruto, seriously, you've lost Kagaya, you were finished a long time ago, it's time to say goodbye. A few meters away you could see Kagaya kneeling in front of Naruto. She had lost her arm, trying to block the previous attack. Flashback Start. The powerful magma dragon was heading at full speed towards Kagaya, who mentally ordered Zetsu to create a barrier once he raised his arm. Unfortunately, when he raised his hand, the barrier he had ordered to his most loyal son was not created. And his arm was engulfed by the dragon, which tore it off at shoulder height and calcined it to such a degree that it looked like a black branch that turned to dust when it touched the ground, causing 3-degree burns all over his body. Flashback end. In front of her, where several of the Edo Tensei team, being from the female side which was Fu, Yugito, Tayuya, Konan, and surprisingly Uchiha Makoto, thought it was the man most beautiful and hot that can exist, but there was something strange about him. He had 2 ears and 10 beautiful and exotic blonde fox tails which made him look intimidating and hot to some people. This person was nothing more and none other than Uzumaki Naruto, the orange lover, but only one person was able to recognize him. Kushina, surprised that is Naru-chan, there is no doubt. They all turned to see her. Everyone, Kushina, shock what? In a quick movement the now newly recognized, Naruto disappeared for a fraction of a second, and looking in front of Kagaya, he made a quick movement inserting his right hand in the center of her chest, seconds later pulling what seemed to be some kind of white mass with several faces, which as a single movement launched several meters to the right. The mass exploded in mid-flight transforming into the 9 Bijus. The 9 Bijus were lying on the sand breathing heavily. The Edo Tensei team believed that Naruto had won and she had lowered his guard for the same reason, which was a serious mistake, which Kagaya took full advantage of, managing to cancel the Tsukuyomi Infinite to be able to collect a little chakra, which she managed to drain from her prisoners through it. Using it all she managed to open a dimensional crack and with his last strength she hit Naruto in the chest pushing him towards the gap. Alt Gaki, Naruto, San-kun, Naru-chan. Naruto heard how someone called him so that moments later a golden chain wrapped around his waist prevented the portal from swallowing him. It was then that in front of him he saw several well-known people, but he focused on the most important and beloved for the Arrow Sennin. Dad, Mom, Kakashi-sensei, Nagato, Konan, Itachi. But how come they're here? Said a surprised and happy tone Naruto. Itachi, Orochimaru revived us and ordered us to help you, or in this case to save you. Quickly everyone take the chain and pull it. They all took the chain and began to pull it. Kushina used all her unlimited chakra, provided by the Edo Tensei, to strengthen her chain, and even the Biju began to help, but she couldn't move Naruto out of the portal. It seemed that she took more strength bent on swallowing Naruto. Then they all heard a laugh. Kagaya, ha 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 ha. Coughs blood. Ha 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 ha, it's useless, maybe you won the fight Asura. Coughs blood, but still you lost the war, ha ha ha. Coughs up, more blood died. Kaguya's body turned into that of Uchiha Madara and then began turning to dust again. Naruto, calm down, it's useless, they can't save me. The portal is getting stronger and stronger. With a serious tone, Kushina makes an angry face. Don't say that, we'll save you. Don't worry, I'll come back no matter where the portal takes me. I'll find a way to come back, I promise, no matter how many years it takes. I'll come back, but first. The blonde smile and yet with a serious tone, Naruto joined both palms and shouted with all his might, Naruto, Rinne Tensei no Jutsu. This is my gift to everyone. Suddenly all those who died in the war, and some others who were brought by the Edo Tensei revived, but at that moment the Kushina chains reached the limit of tension and broke, giving free way to the portal to swallow Naruto. Everyone, Gaki, Naruto, San-kun, Naru-chan. The last thing they saw before the portal closed, was his face which had a smile, Uzumaki mark. Naruto, whisper I love you all so much smiling. End chapter. Chapter 3 The New Jubi no Kitsune. It's true, Uzumaki Naruto's status is secret SSS, until further notice. I consider this war overseeing Obito. Oh, you have something against this decision, Obito. No, looking at the ground, I'm sorry. Dimensional portal location. We can see an Uzumaki Naruto who is entangled by his tails, which made him look like a cocoon. He was currently unconscious, or that's what he seemed, but in reality, he was inside his mental space. Mind space. Naruto could be seen sitting in a lotus position and was surrounded by the 9 Bijus, who was currently in a deep sleep, induced by the lack of chakra. Naruto, this is so boring, none of them are awake. Sigh, I just want to know why I have ears and tails, and worst of all is that when I grew so much. Suddenly, Rikudo no Sennin materialized in front of him. Naruto, Grandpa Rikudo. Rikudo, young transmigrant from Asura, it's nice to see you again. Seeing the sleeping Bijus, apparently, they entered a state of hibernation due to the massive wear of chakra. Naruto, yes, also seeing the Bijus, tell me old man, you know how I can return? Rikudo, yes, I know a way for him to come back. Naruto, seriously, tell me how, please. Rikudo, you can use the Rinne Sharingan to create a rift in this dimension, but, Naruto, there is always a but, Rikudo, you are currently very far from your dimension. Naruto, how can I not just think of home and open a portal? Rikudo, I'm afraid that not to travel between dimensions you need an anchor, so to speak, which allows you to return to your starting point, but unfortunately your anchor, or should I say your 9 anchors, are, looking at the bijus, asleep. Naruto, and the worst of all is that I don't know how long it takes to wake up. Rikudo, don't worry, in this dimension time doesn't exist, so you won't be hungry or tired, so you can train your skills, and once your brothers wake up you can travel freely between dimensions. For that reason I have some gifts for you. Naruto, gifts? Seriously, you are one of the few people who would give me something in my life. What is it? With a bright smile, Rikudo, there are 2 roles in one. There are jutsus of all the elements and the other is a role of your clan, the Uzumaki, in which everything an Uzumaki should know from ninjutsu, kenjutsu, taijutsu, etc. Your mother and father send it to you. Naruto, cheerful mom and dad, how are you having fun in the pure world? Rikudo, Asura my boy, they are alive and waiting for your return to the elemental nation. Smiling. Naruto, how is that? They weren't supposed to be dead, thinking I saw them revived by the Edo Tensei. Rikudo, before you leave you remember that you cast the Rinne Tensei no Jutsu, right? Naruto, if I remember, I thought that I would die, so I thought that I could at least give my life in exchange for the people who perished in the war. Didn't it work? Rikudo, of course, it worked, only that the cost of the Rinne Tensei no Jutsu is the life force of the caster. You know that, right? Naruto nods, but with your new form, the cost of the jutsu is nothing, practically zero. Naruto, then I revived them. Surprised. Great, by the way Gigi, you know why I have this appearance? I feel different, stronger, and faster, almost as if I were invincible. Rikudo, Asura, you are now the Jubi, but not the original, you are the Nidame Jubi no Kitsune, in other words, you are the 10th Biju. Naruto, shock, but how it happened? I don't know why I had such a change. Kurama, yawning, that's because the 9 of us fused our chakra, and something else with you, that's why you changed. Naruto, Kurama, I'm glad to see you awake. Rikudo, I see, that's what caused it starting to disappear. Asura, remember you need all 9 awake to establish a connection with your dimension. I'm running out of time, good luck. Disappears. Kurama, Naruto, I'm still very tired, I don't know how long I'll sleep, but it won't be long, believe me, we'll start waking up in order, so don't worry. Train at this time, we don't know when a gap will be generated, so take advantage of this time. Falls asleep. Naruto, okay, we have to train with a serious face but smile as well. Naruto started training. First, he started with the role of jutsus, which was quite extensive. He dedicated 10 years to each basic element: Doden earth, Futon wind, Kaden fire, Raiden lightning, and Suiden water, and 20 years to the advanced elements: Hyeten ice, Mokuton wood, Shoten crystal, Yoden lava, Fuden steam, and Jinten dust, and 30 years to the yin, yang and yin-yang jutsus, first individually and after the union. Naruto trained for 260 years, an advantage that did not age within this dimensional rift. He trained to the point where he no longer needed to perform a seal to execute jutsus. His eyes did not have much of a joke. For a while he kept them active all the time to be able to control the wear of chakra, but being alone for so long he got bored of the techniques they had. Once I tried to open a crack, but nothing happened. The Susanoo was the same as Sasuke's in appearance, but his color was different from Sasuke's. His Susanoo was black with gold. It took him 30 more years to learn everything that the second role had, which contained everything of his clan, which contained Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, and Taijutsu Uzumaki style. He was like a fish in water, absorbed and assimilated everything related to his clan. After that, he decided to retrain his new eyes, which, being the same as Kaguya's, have almost the same abilities, but still, needed the training to be able to control them perfectly, from activating and deactivating them, using their degraded versions such as the Sharingan, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the Rinnegan, and lastly the Rinne Sharingan. Fortunately, with the latest evolution of his new eyes he could go in and out of dimensional vacuum. That's how Naruto named it, since there was nothing there, not even time. In the same way as Kagaya explored the dimension that was nearby, which seemed interesting and fun, in which many things happened that he does not regret. Other things is that he decided that only he would know what is happening, the times coming out of the void. He sighs, there's nothing new in the scrolls anymore, the hidden content was too easy, boring. I should go out, it's been a while. Well decided, I'll go out. The blonde with a happy tone, voice, oh. Odo, a Tucson. Naruto heard a voice screaming and suddenly a crack was generated in space. End chapter. Chapter 4, Odo-san. Location Kyoto Dimension DXD. there was a little 10-year-old girl, with blonde hair, wearing a custom-made Miko outfit. This was the princess of Kyoto Kuno a yokai, but not just any Kyuubi no Kitsune, who was watching, like her mother Yusaka, that just like her daughter was a yokai Kyuubi no Kitsune. She was beaten by two dragons which were Vritra, the black dragon, and Yulong, a green oriental dragon. She was only able to see how they subdued her mother, who she no longer had the strength to even fight, but still, they kept hitting her. Kuno, yelling, please stop. Crying, someone. Whoever. Please. Please, help her. Oka-sama. Flashback, home. Kuno, how? Mother. Yusaka, yes. Masumi, daughter. Kuno, why don't I have a Chichiyu, father? Yusaka was impressed with her question, and sadness invaded her, but her daughter still needed to know the truth, so she decided to tell her about her father. Yusaka, smiling, and who says you don't have it, smiling with love. Kuno, I really have a Chichiyu, with a happy tone. Yusaka, yes. Masumi, you have an Atusan. Kuno, murmur Atusan, sad, I have an Atusan, and where he is, does he hate us? Yusaka, surprised, hate us? Loving tone, no, he loves us with all his heart. Kuno, surprised, seriously, and where is he? Yusaka, he is training. Kuno, training? Yusaka, yup, you see, your father appreciates his family very much, and like us, he is a yokai, but a very special one, with a smile. Kuno, surprised, seriously, he is just like us. Yusaka, yes, he gives off a sense of security and protection when you're around him, it's like being under a big tree in summer. Kuno, ooh really, and how is it? The little Kyuubi said. Yusaka, well, he has beautiful blonde hair with reddish tips, just like you. He has a pair of beautiful blue eyes, which reflect his feelings. You know, when I told him I loved him, Yusaka's eyes, he acquired a beautiful shine. I actually thought about changing the color of her eyes, but I think a pair of blue eyes are better than jet black ones. Kuno, seriously, then when he meets me, his eyes will shoot a laser with a happy smile. Yusaka, ha, I think so. It's more if you're ever in danger, and I'm not around to protect you. Think of your father, try to call him, he will always come to protect us. Flashback end. Kuno, in tears and scared. Tusan, how needs help. Tusan, crying, please come to Tusan. Crying. At that very moment, in front of the little Kuno, the air was broken as if there was a glass crack. In front of the little Kyuubi, the space was broken, the sound of rupture traveled throughout the battlefield, which stopped all movement. Nobody moved a muscle. Suddenly it happened. From the same dimensional hole came a pressure that traveled throughout the world, and every supernatural being, in various parts of the world, could feel it. For some it was a chilling sensation, none wanted to continue being in their presence as if they were simple insects in their presence, and for others, it was a comforting sensation as if a being kindly embrace and protect them. Overview. Home. Only slow, calm footsteps were heard. Everything was so silent that the sound of the footsteps seemed like the beating of a heart. Nobody moved. The feeling was much worse than being in the old wars. A single thought arose in everyone's head, those who felt the arrival of this being, a primordial, and a feeling of fear invaded many in the world. Overview. End. Little Kuno just felt as if an aura embraced and protected her. Kuno, it's like Oka-san, said Otto. A Tucson, he heard the footsteps closer. From the fissure you could see a silhouette, which was of a man of no more than 25 years old. The first thing they saw were two blonde fox ears with reddish tips, blonde hair with red tips that reached down to his lower back, in which 10 beautiful blonde tails with a red tip were found, 1.77 centimeters high. No one moved behind him. The fissure closed, the sound gradually returned, and the first thing heard was a cry. Kuno, a Tucson, shouted, running towards our not-so-airheaded blonde Oto-san. Little Kitsune jumped to hug Naruto, who only opened his arms receiving the little blonde missile. Naruto, hugging her, patting her head, all right, everything's fine, don't cry. Naruto only remembered one voice, before leaving the portal, and when he came out he heard the same voice and then a small blonde projectile directed towards him. He realized that it was a girl no more than 10 years old, but she shouted something that took him by surprise to Naruto. Oto-san, who, had a certain resemblance to him. It was when he realized who he was thanks to his chakra signature, and automatically his fatherly mode was activated, but he was weak before the tears of a little girl, and more if it is a girl it was her own daughter, so I choose to comfort her. Kuno, hugging Naruto tightly, she even wrapped her tails around his waist. A Tucson, she looks at him, please, save Oka-san, I point to his subdued mother. Naruto looked where the little girl pointed, his eyes widened and his gaze changed to a dull one, and suddenly the temperature suddenly dropped and they felt pressure on everyone. In the distance, you could see a Kyuubi being subdued by two lizards, one green and the other black, that made him very angry. He turned to see little Kuno and hugged her. Naruto, smiling, it's okay, Odo-san will take care of everything, so don't worry. The two overgrown lizards didn't know it, but they were going to be hit very, very hard. Pause. Naruto, still hugging the little kitsune, walked calmly towards the two dragons, who saw him terrified as he approached their position. From a distance, the other people nearby saw how he suddenly began to climb in the direction of heaven as if there was a ladder. Once reached a decent height, he accommodated little Kuno sitting on his arm. Naruto, accommodating Kuno, don't cry anymore, wiping away her tears, we're going to help Oka-san, okay? Smiling, Kuno, yep, smiling. Naruto raised his free hand and without any sign of order the trees grew around the two dragons, which were fighting against the roots. They tried to fly, but they couldn't even take off their legs from the ground, which were tied. Both dragons looked up and saw a pair of blood-red eyes staring at them without any emotion. It was terrifying. Naruto raised his hand and with a single hand sign made a small circle, and 8 large wooden dragons emerged around the two giant lizards, and as if he hit the air, the dragons launched themselves towards their two prey, subduing them instantly. Little Kuno only watched with little stars in her eyes as her Odo-san defeated and saved her Ka-san with just the movement of a single hand sign. Kuno, surprised, looking at Naruto, Odo-san is very strong. Naruto, smiling at her, of course I'm strong, proud tone, I'm the powerful Jubi no Kitsune, walking now, let's go with your Oka-san. And Naruto began to descend slowly and calmly towards the great Kyuubi who was knocked out. In the distance, several people saw what happened with astonishment and fear. Just a few seconds after his arrival he subdued 2 dragons, just by moving a hand sign. Various presences withdrew, hoping never to see or cross their path again, otherwise there would be no tomorrow for them. Kuno, Ka-san, looking at her mother, Odo-san has come to save us. Please open her eyes, I scream, almost about to start crying again. Look at Naruto, Odo-san, you can cure her. Yusaka opened one eye to see her little girl in someone's arms and closed her eye again. Naruto only moved a hand sign and trees began to grow around them, and they began to give off a light green aura, which began to heal Yusaka, in that several presences arrived, but I did not care about them, they were very weak and did not present a challenge for him. Kuno looked at the green aura, which created a dome and began to heal her mother. She looked at the small scratches she had, which began to disappear without leaving any trace, and she looked at how her mother began to shine and shrink. Naruto watched as the great Kyuubi began to shine, to transform into a woman who he knew very well was Yusaka, leader of Kyoto, so beautiful that according to his criteria it was 12 out of 10. One could say that it was the most beautiful. He felt like the little Kitsune Kuno was calling to him to ask him to put her down, which he did, but he kept his guard up. Yusaka felt very good, as if she were lying on a hill receiving the sun's rays, so warm and comfortable, lost in the sensation of absolute tranquility. She felt someone approaching. Opening her eyes, she observed that it was her little daughter, but what she called her attention was to see a yokai kitsune behind her, which she recognized immediately, was Uzumaki Naruto, Jubi no Kitsune, a primordial being, and the father of her little daughter and her husband. Kuno, haha, jumped to hug her. I'm glad she's okay. Starting to cry, I was really scared, crying but stopping crying. Chichiyu came to save us. Turning to see Naruto, right, Chichiyu. Naruto turns to look at Kuno, of course princess, and turns right back looking at Yusaka. I'm glad to see you again, Yusaka-chan, you're still just as beautiful. Yusaka's face is like a tomato. I'm glad to see you again, Naru, and poor little Naruto is super red. Naruto calmly approached, putting a hand between Kuno's ears, which made the little girl very happy, and then he knelt on his left knee, facing Kuno to wipe the remains of the tears from her eyes. Having finished this, he got up to speak but was interrupted by a voice. Hey Gaki, calling Naruto Gaki. Naruto heard a voice that seemed to be an old man, but little Kuno didn't care. Little Kuno hugged him by his leg, noticing that she was scared by the new voice, so she proceeded to release a little of his aura, to calm the little girl, which worked. He turned to see an old man who looked like an old monkey. His presence reminded him of a certain red four-tailed monkey that was sleeping, and he only said his name with a smile, Naruto. They are smiling in an amusing way. Sun Wukong was in shock. First he had to stop those brats from Chaos Brigade, but when he was about to give him a lecture, he suddenly felt how the space was torn apart creating a dimensional gap. He thought it was another Dragon King. He couldn't be more wrong. He felt how his body tensed. His instincts alerted him. On the one hand they yelled at him to run away, give up, ask for forgiveness, but at the same time he felt great tranquility. He looked at where he felt such an aura. Moments later he could see how the one who walked calmly towards the two Dragon Kings, then saw how he raised his hand and subdued them with some kind of technique which surprised everyone, leaving in absolute silence. Then he saw him resume his walk. When he realized the members of Chaos Brigade had chosen to escape. Apparently they did not want to face this guy, so he decided to go see what was happening with the two Dragon Kings, which to his surprise did not emit or a single noise. It was then that this guy saw it. It was a Jubi no Kitsune. It was then that he decided to call him, which caused him to surprise the little Kitsune who hugged him out of fear. But even so he did not look at him. He called him again, but when he looked at him with those blue eyes with a slit pupil, a shiver ran through him. He was going to introduce himself, but to his surprise he said his first name with a smile, and it seemed that he was having fun just with his presence. It was official. He was in shock, with his eyes open but unable to, thank God he was wearing sunglasses. Wukong, how do you know my name? Raising his power replies. Naruto looked at him and smiled even more. It was funny how this little old monkey wanted to intimidate him with such an aura, so he released a fraction of his power which rose to unimaginable levels. Naruto, you're a funny old man. Raising his power, you to want to have a fight with me? Release his aura. His eyes became the Mangekyo Sharingan. Wukong knew that he could give him a little fight. It would be at least a good challenge. But once his eyes changed, his whole being felt it. He knew that he would lose in a crushing way, and he would no longer present a challenge to him. Now it was official. If he fought with, he would die. He tried to subdue him with his aura, but it didn't work, and instead, he dominated it as if it were a game. Wukong, I don't want to fight. Lowering his aura, I just want to ask for the release of those two, pointing at the dragons. Naruto looked at the dragons who looked at him with fear. It was fun. No, he wanted to have a little fun. They are my dinner. Showing his pointed and sharp teeth. The two great Dragon Kings were trembling like never before in their lives. It was official. They were dead, and they would be someone's dinner. Wukong, please don't, they are not rich. Naruto, I'll decide that. Feeling a tug on his pants, looks down. Kuno, Odo-san, are you hungry? Looking at the dragons, Naruto, yes, a little. Looking into her eyes, I already deactivated the Sharingan. Kuno, so, looking for something in her sleeves. Have rice balls. Oka-san made them. They are very tasty. Naruto stomach rumbles. Take one and eat it. You see they are tasty. Looking at the rice balls, if you say so, the blonde Jubi said, taking one and eating it. If they are delicious. Looking at Yusaka, your cooking is still the best. Loving smile. Yusaka automatically became the envy of tomatoes for its intense red color. Yusaka, red TT. Thank you. Looking at the ground with smoke coming out of his head. Naruto, now, who wants dragon steak? Looking at Yu Long, I think it will be delicious. Yu Long, Wukong, help, Wukong, please boy don't do it. Watching Naruto until I hear another voice, dragon shoot. Naruto saw how a kind of red lightning came towards him. At his feet the little Kuno was scared. Naruto only saw the attack as if it were nothing, and seconds later, a glass mirror came out of the ground, blocked the attack and reflected it back. Straight at the person who threw it, who barely dodged it. Wukong, scream brat, don't attack him. Kuno, Issei-san, why did she do that? Even holding Naruto by her leg. Naruto, another lizard, he moved his hand sign, and just like the two super-developed lizards, he captured now known as Issei. You're not different. Human, or lizard? Diedrich decided to speak. Diedrich, great primordial. I am sorry for the offense of my bearer, please forgive him. Pleading. Naruto, but how interesting. Issei's talking glove approached. Tell me lizard, what are you? End chapter 4.